Joe Biden, the wrong man at the wrong time. That's our focus in tonight's preamble. The heart and soul of the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, is proving to be a liar, lacking in integrity, and a usurper of the law with deadly consequences. First, this breaking story about Joe Biden and his son's business dealings with foreign enemies of the United States. Here is Biden's old brain, Jen Psaki, claiming that Joe Biden has never discussed Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings with his son.
The president has said that he never spoke to his son about his overseas business dealings. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Now, as is the case with most things in this administration, that's a lie. Here's Joe Biden in his own voice talking with his son about a story in the New York Times about his son's business dealings with the filthy communists in China.
Hey, pal, it's Dad. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
New York Times piece specifically talked about Hunter's dealings with Chinese oil giant CEFC. Files on Hunter's laptop from hell confirmed that he struck a deal with the Chinese company, a deal worth millions of dollars. Joe Biden's drug-plagued son accidentally recorded himself referring to one of the business partners in China as the, quote, spy chief of China, end quote. Remember, Joe Biden claims he never spoke to his son about his overseas dealings. Joe Biden lied. And we have more evidence now that the Biden administration may be compromised by one of America's enemies. The next story deals with the same dishonest family, but a different American enemy, the Russians. Records from a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop from hell show Joe Biden apparently unwittingly financed his son's participation in an escort ring tied to Mother Russia. Joe Biden wired Hunter a total of $100,000 to help him pay his bills from December 2018 through January 2019. In one instance, Joe Biden wired his son $5,000 while he was actively engaged with Uber GFE, an escort service. In another instance, texts indicated Hunter Biden convinced his father to wire him $20,000 to finance his stay at a New York City drug rehabilitation program that he never checked into. According to a 2020 Senate report by Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, Hunter Biden paid non-resident women who were nationals of Russia or other Eastern European countries, and records note some of these transactions are linked to what appears to be an Eastern European prostitution or human trafficking ring. Video has also revealed Hunter Biden's interactions with one of his Russian escorts.
Hey. Is anything hurt on you? Anything? I was literally saying, I'm sorry that it took so long to give you $10,000. Do you have any bruise? Anything? Have I ever touched you in a bad way? Ever? Have I asked you every time if I could touch you? Every time. Sweetheart, look at me. You cannot talk to me that way and say things like that. Because I'm more respectful than anyone you've ever met.
That video just adds to the questions about what the escorts might know about Joe Biden's son and any potential compromise that can be used to blackmail the Biden family patriarch. It's a fair question to ask if the Kremlin had access to this information before the laptop from hell was revealed to the world. It's also fair to ask why the laptop was suppressed by nearly every major news organization and degenerates in big social media companies like Twitter and Facebook. Does this video add further evidence suggesting that the leader of the Democrats is compromised by yet another American enemy? Does this reveal the character of the Biden family and the Democrat Party writ large? If they would lie about these things, hide these things from the American people, what else are they capable of? Sadly, illegal aliens just found out. 50 illegal aliens are dead tonight as a result of Joe Biden and his Democrats' border policies, which promote and support illegal immigration. Joe Biden's partners, the narco-terrorists, left illegal aliens to die in the sweltering Texas heat in the back of a truck. What did Joe Biden do after Texas Governor Greg Abbott rightly blamed him and his Democrats for their deadly lawlessness? Biden blamed the Republicans and Abbott, calling their outrage over the 50 needless deaths, quote, political grandstanding, end quote. This was after the Biden White House did what it does best: lied to the American people, insisting, despite 50 dead bodies, that the United States-Mexico border is, quote, closed. Aside from the soaring gas prices, inflation, rampant crime, and foreign policy disasters, our nation is being run by the most morally bankrupt and shadiest people on this planet. These are Democrat values. This is the pain and death that comes when you support corruption on this scale. Quick, somebody wake up Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. They might, and I stress might, be interested.